Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Here in this video, I will explain the day today, put it into context, why I actually think today was a big win for Tesla and the broader markets. I think it's critical that we understand this because I've been talking about this for 2 or 3 days now, but you were inevitably going to see a bit of a slowdown of this rally, not an ending of this rally, not another 10% drawdown or even like a 5% drawdown. I think that's pretty unlikely at this point unless trade tensions were to somehow pick up again. But a slowdown, a speed bump, if you will. If you're going 20 mile an hour, you might slow down to 5 or 10 to go over the speed bump, and then you pick back up again. Essentially, that's what I think is happening right now. And here in this video, I will explain again why today was actually a very positive development. We do have some economic data coming out tomorrow, and we do have some Tesla stock news to go over in this video. And roughly speaking, I will give you my expectations for the next couple of days, couple of weeks for Tesla stock. As I've talked about before, history suggests that Tesla is probably going into the 400s here. Let me briefly explain in under 60 seconds. Anytime historically Tesla has broke above the 100-day moving average, you inevitably rally anywhere from like 40 to 100%. When the RSI breaks above 70, that's important. When there is strength in the stock, when there is momentum in the stock, normally it's not a small rally, it's a large rally. And I like to measure this from the break of the moving average, not the low, but the break of the moving average. And from those rough barometers, I mean, 100% from here would put you at like a $700 stock, but 40% higher from here would put you at about 450, okay? Those are some of the numbers we could be looking at here. And I think there's a very logical reason for this, right? Robotaxi is launching. Nobody seems to care. Wall Street just seems to think it's just another Tesla endeavor that will do okay. Robotaxi could surpass everyone's expectations, okay? In terms of scalability, okay, especially with deregulation, it seems like there is a very friendly approach being taken towards autonomous ride-hailing services, especially considering like the average driver has a crash every 500,000 miles or so, and FSD's like 1 in 7 million miles. Also have Optimus that continues to impress. We shared the video yesterday of Optimus dancing much better than 98% of the population can. So there's that's lurking in the background. But you also have, I mean, a very constructive backdrop for the market starting to form, where everyone got bearish all at once. Now there's still a lot of bears, but the bearish catalyst, the bearish thesis has kind of dissolved, right? With this China trade deal that at least has a rough, parameter. Now, it's not signed, but we roughly know what to expect. Now, here's the deal. It looks likely from the comments we've heard from Trump, to psychoanalyze him a little bit if I can, that the 20% fentanyl tariff is probably going to be paused or done away with relatively soon. You're going to end this thing with a 10% tariff on China. That's not going to cause inflation, okay? Companies are going to have to eat that. Maybe there's a little bit of shrinkflation, but I don't think it's going to show up in the data. I think the Fed's going to be able to cut rates a lot more than people think. And that's in and of itself is a very bullish combo for markets. But again, everyone got bearish on a recession all at once for good reason. It's hard to psychoanalyze Trump. You didn't know how far he was going to take things. So all of Wall Street got underpositioned. Now recession odds have plummeted. Okay, here's the kicker. Everyone's still trying to figure out what's the damage done in the economy. Is the economy still doing okay? Or are we plummeting into recession? Well, Walmart had earnings today, and everyone paid attention to the passing prices on component of Walmart earnings. Again, if we get a pause on the 20% fentanyl tariffs, there's going to be a lot less of that eventually, okay? But nobody really paid attention to the big news, which was the consumer was weak in February, performed okay in March, did really well in April, and now in May is accelerating even further. So you got a little bit of a seasonal, drawback, right? have to admit, I haven't been to Walmart in quite a while besides for food for my two never-ending eating children, okay? So I can kind of see that, but it's starting to pick up again, meaning we're not slamming into a recession. Back in 07, 08, Walmart was one of the first companies to warn about a recession. And I talked about this extensively before Walmart's earnings. If they did warn about a recession, it was something we wanted to take very seriously, right? If Walmart had come out today and said the consumer's falling apart, they're not spending, we're seeing a dramatic slowdown, big red flag. And I don't think you can really ignore that. But as long as the consumer continues to spend, as long as the job market does not fall apart, this bull market is intact. It could be a little bumpy and there's going to be speed bumps, as I expected Tesla would get a speed bump around the 350s. That's happening. That's normal. That's actually a good thing. You don't want markets to go straight up and get, overly optimistic all at once. So I actually think that was the big news of the day today. Obviously, retail sales came in better than expected, and Jerome Powell was a little bit nervous around inflation and the coming months and what that could look like. But again, I think 6 months from now, we're going to say, oh, well, everyone thought there was going to be a recession. There's no recession. 6 months from now, everyone's going to say, I thought there was going to be inflation. There's no inflation. The Fed's cutting rates, and that could, like Trump said, be jet fuel to this market. And that's why some people would say delusionally, optimistic on Tesla right now, specifically because of the catalyst that Tesla has. Again, robotaxi, new models coming, Optimus. I think it's really hard to be bearish on Tesla. And I do think above 350, you start to get into a little bit of that squeeze zone. I think you could actually see even maybe just a couple of days that send Tesla into the 400s. Like once you break 350, you close above that and you start to get momentum again above the 100-day moving average with the RSI above 70 today, even after your decline. The RSI is at 70.3. You could very shortly thereafter be in the 400s as high as 450. Then I think you get a little bit more of a speed bump. We kind of chill out a little bit. Then you get the break, maybe September-ish, October-ish. If I were to imagine seasonally, the last 2 months of the year tends to be pretty good. Now, we do have some catalysts coming tomorrow. You have building permits, preliminary numbers for April, housing starts for April, export prices month over month, housing starts month over month, import prices month over month, export prices year over year, and import prices year over year. But the big catalyst tomorrow is Michigan consumer sentiment. We're expecting sentiment on the headline reading to finally go up. It's been dropping for 5 or 6 months in a row. You're expecting the headline number to go up. What Wall Street really cares about is inflation expectations and the consumer. But lately, it's all been about inflation expectations. They are actually expected to move up on the 5-year from 4.4% to 4.5%, and on the 1-year from 6.5% to 6.6%. You're expecting current conditions to fall a little bit and consumer expectations to rise a little bit. So specifically, we want to see how that works. But again, Wall Street cares about this. I really don't. And this whole survey is flawed. It's very political and it's very lenient towards heavy Democrat respondents. Okay. So take it with a grain of salt, but the markets will respond to it. Best case scenario is we actually get a drop in 5-year and 1-year inflation expectations. That would be a really good sign for this market. You do have some earnings as well tomorrow, pre-market, Codeer, Flower Foods, Yatsen, Brady, RBC Bearings, and a couple of others, but not any big catalyst really to, again, speak of. Now, for Tesla specifically, Tesla's option activity yesterday was very strong. Today it came in pretty neutral. Yesterday's option activity was about $700 million with a positive order value of 91%. Today, $209 million of option activity with a positive order value of 58%. 8%. Very, very strong. You did have about 754,000 shares today that were sold short. But again, I do think around these levels, especially above 350, you're going to see short sellers really start to cover on those short positions. And that is the next leg of this, because even though Tesla's recovered from like 220 to the 350s, 340s or so, you really haven't seen short sellers cover on any of their short positions in any degree at all. So I think that something to watch tomorrow. Again, Wall Street kind of got this reading wrong today, with a lot of your growth stocks, high beta stocks, interest rate sensitive stocks selling off. I don't think inflation is going to be an issue. I think what really matters is the economy. The economy has to stay strong, or this will be a bear market rally. The S&P will come back down again. Okay, there was a bigger rush today to like defensives, like Dollar General was up 6%. Okay, I think that's the wrong move, although I think there's some value in stocks like that. I think much better risk reward is, believe it or not, in something like a Tesla, especially with big catalyst, again, robotaxi, and cheaper models coming out here very soon. So let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comment section. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.